Colin Schafer. I live in Eugene, Oregon. That's where I was raised, I guess, not necessarily born, but that doesn't matter. I was in the United States Marine Corps for 8 years, did 4 deployments, and now I'm a police officer in the town I grew up in. I've been doing that for 3 years now. So, I mean, what ultimately brought me to find Mighty Oaks was, I listened to a bunch of veteran podcasts, and the founder of the organization was on one of them, and he was a Force Reconnaissance Marine, so that kind of caught my attention. He'd been on a whole bunch of deployments, that kind of caught my attention. Just as a kind of a part of my upbringing a little bit, sprinkled in a lot of the pretty regular things that guys who have been on 3 combat deployments experience. I sort of developed a lot of personality traits, some holes in my character and in my judgment and decision making. And so those things had significant impact. I had a significant impact on my marriage, and did a lot of what I believe for a very long time, a lot of what I believe to be like irreconcilable and irreversible damage. That wasn't the only relationship that suffered. I have 4 children. I always thought I was kind of the father that they should be. I was very stern, and I was teaching them great lessons, but the way I was teaching it, there wasn't not a whole lot of love there. So yeah, a lot of that caused me to isolate myself. I was what I believe to be ruining my relationships at home, and just because of kind of the way I felt about myself, I didn't think that there was anyone, because I didn't talk to any of my friends that I was in the Marine Corps with. I hadn't really been at the police department for very long to really get to know anybody. There's a few guys, handful of guys. They always kind of felt like someone wasn't clicking, and it was me. It wasn't them. It was almost like I was afraid to connect, afraid to be transparent with anybody because of what I considered to be my transgressions against the people closest to me. That I wouldn't really want people to get close to me then, because I'd probably hurt them too, and things just wouldn't go well. And so being isolated, spent a lot of time by myself, thinking a lot of thoughts that were just unhealthy. Really low point in my life, just arguing with my wife, and she later found me in a shed with a Glock in my hand, and she did the only thing she probably could have and took it from me and slapped me and told me I was being an idiot, which is exactly what I needed, actually. God works in mysterious ways, because it sobered me up, it made me realize, you know what, I am. And so, but from there, she, in a lot of ways, I've talked to her about this program before, and she keep dropping hints like, hey, you should finally fill that application out, or hey, I know you have vacation time, take it and go here. And she kept telling me to come here, and what was stopping me was my stereotype, my preconceived notion of the veteran, the damaged good veteran that I just, because I'm obviously a different kind of veteran, so there's no way I could relate to those guys. Couldn't be further from the truth. I obviously learned. I was also nervous. I didn't like the stigma of PTSD or any sort of being labeled as broken and anything like that. I'm afraid to confront it, I suppose. But it's true that the toughest step and potentially the most courageous thing I've ever done was get on the plane and come here, because I didn't have any other options after that. Couldn't leave. I could never adequately describe my experience here. I just know that I'm definitely a new person. I'm reborn, and I'm equipped with all the tools that I need to not just be the father that they could have had, or the husband that they could have had, or the man that I could have been, but to be the man that better than I ever could have been, better than the husband than she could have ever imagined, better than the father that they could ever imagine that they could have, and just leave a permanent legacy that is one that, everyone, I would be proud of, so that's really it.